Do you know one big reason why you might not have become successful yet? Or, if you are successful, why you haven't become super successful? The mistake behind this is that you are focusing on the wrong thing. You're focusing on results and talent, whereas you should be focusing on just one word: practice. Now many people will hear this and say, "Oh, this is old advice. I've heard this so many times. Say something new, bring something new." To everyone watching this video, if even a little bit of this thought is crossing your mind, I want to ask you one question. Answer it honestly. How many times have you tried to bring a good habit or a positive change into your life? Tried to change your life? For example, you started going to the gym, started learning a new skill, started your own business, started working on something, or bought a course. But after a few days you stopped. You stopped going to the gym. You stopped learning the skill. You stopped learning the guitar. Why? Now, many people will say, because it was boring. It felt tough. I didn't have time. Well, you know what? These are all excuses. The truth is, if you went to the gym for just 3 days and built a great body in that time, if people started appreciating you, if people started giving you money, if brands started offering you deals just by looking at your body, then honestly speaking, you would definitely keep going to the gym regularly. This means your focus was, once again, on results. Since you weren't getting results quickly, since you weren't getting appreciation fast enough, since you weren't making money, you stopped doing it. And I'm not saying this happens only to you. It happens to me too, many times. And that's exactly what we need to understand. For example, since childhood I noticed something. People who play the guitar attract a lot of attention, and I always loved attention. I wanted people to be attracted to me, especially girls. And many times I had seen that girls really liked guys who played the guitar, so I always had this thought in my mind. I wanted to learn to play the guitar. I wanted to play and impress people. Back in school and college, I didn't have a strong enough desire to buy a guitar and learn. But a few years ago I thought, let's learn the guitar. If nothing else, at least I could play and impress people. Grab some attention, right? So just out of excitement I bought a guitar. But after practicing for a few days, I gave up. And now the guitar is just lying there, collecting dust. In fact, I even gave my guitar to several friends and other people so they could learn. I thought, if I couldn't learn, maybe they would. But again, even they couldn't learn. And what's the reason behind this? The reason is simple. When I got the guitar, my focus was only on the results that come from playing it. I wanted the results, but I didn't see myself actually practicing the guitar. That's why I gave up. And now the guitar is just lying there, covered in dust. Even now this same pattern repeats in different aspects of our lives, and this is what stops us from becoming successful. That's why it's crucial that instead of just listening and understanding, we deeply ingrain the word practice into our minds. Because in the end, it's practice that will give you results, talent, and everything you desire. The question is, how can we develop a practicing mind? Well, in today's video, that's exactly what I'm going to tell you. Hello, you are watching Metanoia, where we bring you insightful videos on psychological principles, helping you shape your habits, emotions, decisions, and identity to enable a real and lasting transformation. In this video, I'll share 7 practical ideas that can shift how you approach progress and self-discipline. They're inspired by The Practicing Mind by Thomas Sterner, and also echo what people like James Clear, Carol Dweck, and Ryan Holiday talk about. It's all about focusing less on perfection, and more on steady daily practice. And on this foundation you can build a practicing mind. This means you'll internalize this concept so well that you'll naturally start focusing more on practice. So what are these 7 pillars? Let me give you a quick overview of what you'll learn from this video. In the first pillar, you'll understand the 2 biggest enemies of a practicing mind. The ones that stop you from focusing on practice. It's crucial to fight them. And for that, I'll share a great example of Will Smith with you. Then I'll share with you a 3-word fundamental that forms the basis of a practicing mind. After that, I'll explain the cornerstone of a practicing mind, what it is, and why it's so important. Then I'll tell you about a 3-step technique you can use to apply the practicing mind in your life. After that, I'll share 2 essential qualities that every practicing mind must have, which means you must develop them too. Finally, I'll give you a simple trick that will help you apply the word practice in your daily life. And yes, there's one last enemy I'll reveal at the end. As long as this enemy exists in your life, you cannot develop a practicing mind. And throughout these 7 pillars, I'll share many examples of successful people, like Kobe Bryant, Ronaldo, Tiger Woods, and many other great personalities who've achieved massive success in their lives by applying these practicing mind fundamentals. Plus, I'll show you how you can practically implement all 7 principles. Not just theory, real action on how to actually change your life. Let's start with the first pillar of a practicing mind, and to explain it, let me tell you a simple story. Imagine this. You're hanging out with someone you really like, someone who gives you butterflies. Maybe it's your first date. You've been waiting for this day. You've planned everything. You know what you want to say, you've practiced it in your head 100 times. But the moment you sit down and open your mouth, you blank out. You stumble over your words. You say something awkward. Suddenly, even talking, something you've done every day since you were a kid, feels hard. Why does that happen? It's not because you forgot how to talk. It's because your brain is panicking. It's thinking, what if I say something dumb? What if they don't like me? What if I mess this up? That right there is judgment. And it's not just about dates. You go for a job interview, same thing. You step on stage or into a meeting or try to shoot a video, and boom, the fear kicks in. It's not the task that's hard, it's the pressure of being judged. And that judgment doesn't just come from outside. Most of it comes from inside you. Like when you're learning something new, maybe cooking or drawing or editing videos, and you mess up. Instead of laughing it off, you start saying things like, I'm just not good at this. This isn't for me. I knew I'd fail. That voice in your head, it's brutal. And it kills practice before it even starts. Now let me tell you about Will Smith. Back when he was a kid, his dad told him and his brother to build a brick wall outside his shop. No instructions, no fancy tools, just bricks and cement. At first they were like, this is impossible, but their dad said something that stuck with Will forever. He said, don't focus on building the wall, just lay one brick as perfectly as you can, then the next one, then the next. That was it. Years later, Will said that lesson shaped everything he did, from music to acting to life. He wasn't trying to be the best in the world on day one. He just showed up, laid a brick, and kept going. Now here's the other part of the story. Distraction. Let's say you're learning guitar. You hit one bad note, and suddenly your brain goes, ugh, maybe guitar is not my thing. You put it down and start scrolling on your phone, or you say, maybe I'll try piano instead. That's distraction sneaking in. You're not switching because you found something better. You're switching because you felt judged, and your brain just wants to escape. Now imagine if Will Smith had done that. Imagine if he gave up on acting after his first bad scene, or his first failed audition. Imagine if he let those voices get to him. But he didn't. He kept showing up, kept laying bricks, didn't care who was watching or judging. And when distractions came, fame, attention, noise, he still focused on the work. This is pillar number 1. Letting go of judgment and distraction, the 2 biggest enemies of a practicing mind. If you want to build something great, whether it's a skill, a mindset, or a career, you have to let go of both. Let's move on to the next pillar. You know how everyone wants to win, but not everyone's ready to do what it takes to win? Let me tell you about someone who actually did the work. Kobe Bryant. Yeah, that Kobe. Black Mamba. One of the greatest basketball players the world has ever seen. But here's the thing. His greatness wasn't just about talent. It was how obsessed he was with practice. Let me tell you some stories that'll blow your mind. When he was with Team USA, the guy just didn't stop. While others were sleeping, chilling, or pacing themselves, Kobe was always in the gym, always. Back in college, he used to wake up at 4:30 in the morning, hit the gym by 5, and practice for 2 full hours before heading off to class. And get this, sometimes he'd play one-on-one games with bench warmers to 100 points. On his worst days, he'd still win like 100-12. That kind of hunger, it's rare. Now fast forward to the Olympics. The night before his first training with Team USA in Vegas, most players went to bed. What did Kobe do? He asked his trainer, want to go biking? They rode 40 miles through the desert at night. He got back at 2 a.m. and was in the gym by 7:30 the next morning. You think that's wild? Wait for this. One of the trainers, AC Blake, once casually told Kobe, hey, if you ever need help with training, just call me. Sounds simple, right? Well, At 4:15 a.m., Blake's phone rings. It's Kobe. "Hey man, I want to get some strength training in." Blake, still half asleep, rushes to the gym, and Kobe's already there, already drenched in sweat. He'd started before the trainer even arrived. They trained together for 2 hours. Blake leaves to catch some rest. But Kobe, he keeps going. By the time the full team shows up for the 11 a.m. session, Kobe is still practicing. Blake asks, "Dude, when did you finish?" Kobe just smiles and says, "Just now. I had to hit 800 shots, I'm done. 7 hours." Then he joined the team session. No excuses. That right there. That's what loving the process looks like. For Kobe, it was never just about medals or applause. He just loved sharpening himself. Which brings us to pillar number 2, process over product. See, I've done this too, like when I picked up the guitar. I was dreaming of playing a perfect song, people clapping, looking cool. But I wasn't into the grind of playing the same boring scales over and over. And that's the trap. We want the result, the product, but we skip the process. But truly successful people, they don't think like that. They focus on the process. They fall in love with practice. They focus on practice, and they enjoy practicing. They make practice a part of their daily routine, and that is why they become extraordinary and successful. Now let's move on to the third pillar of the practicing mind. This pillar is the cornerstone of a practicing mind. Let's talk about something that most people completely miss when it comes to success. You know Will Smith, right? The actor from The Fresh Prince, Men in Black, Pursuit of Happiness? Now, love him or not, the guy's known for one thing beyond movies: crazy work ethic. There's this one interview where he said something that really stuck with me. He goes, "You might be more talented than me. You might be smarter. But if we both get on a treadmill, one of two things is gonna happen. Either you're getting off first, or I'm gonna die on it." Sounds dramatic, but that's how seriously he takes practice and focus. And that's the core of what I want to share with you today. This third pillar is all about something simple, but super powerful: mindfulness. Not the candle lighting, meditating kind necessarily. I mean the kind where you zone in so hard on something, the rest of the world fades out. Now think about this. People always say Isaac Newton was a genius, that he just saw an apple fall and boom, gravity. But the truth? Dude worked like a maniac, locked himself in rooms, forgot to eat, worked 16 to 18 hours a day, just grinding. Not because he had to, because he wanted to. He was in it. That kind of deep focus, where you're not distracted, not bouncing from app to app, not multitasking. That's mindfulness. And it's what every top performer has in common. Even Shaolin monks talk about this. If you want to learn anything, like really learn it, here's their secret. Eat just enough. Don't overthink food. Sleep properly. Don't mess with your health, and give all the rest of your time to that one thing. Whatever you want to master, that's it. No phone, no games, no random scrolling. Just practice. Full on, eyes on the prize mode. That's what this third pillar is about. Mindfulness. It's not about being perfect, it's about being present. If you can build that, you can literally learn anything. So make mindfulness practice your next pillar, because it will help you with all other forms of practice. All right, let's move on to the next pillar. You know what's wild? I was watching this video the other day and it explained something that made me think of Tom Brady. Yeah, the football guy with 7 Super Bowl rings, GOAT status. Now people think Brady was just born with that talent, like he woke up one day and could throw perfect passes. But no, that's so not the full story. When he first entered the NFL, he wasn't even a top pick. He was this scrawny, overlooked kid. But what made him the legend he is? He had this crazy, simple method: do, observe, correct. Let's call it the doc technique. Brady would do a play, then he'd go back, watch the footage, every little detail. He'd ask himself, did I release too early? Was my footwork off? And then he'd adjust, tweak, practice it again, over and over. This loop, do, observe, correct, became his secret weapon. And it's not just him. Think of Ronaldo, you know, the football star with abs like stone and skills to match. There's this story from his early days. His shots were powerful, but man, they used to fly everywhere, no control. So what did he do? He didn't pout, he didn't blame the ball. He picked up his stuff, walked to a quiet corner of the field and just started working. Drills, step overs, kicks. Sometimes he even trained with weights on his legs, like some anime character training for a tournament. He wanted to make things harder on purpose, so the actual game felt easier. His teammates would ask, "Dude, what are you doing?" And Ronaldo would just say, "I need to practice." He even once asked an older player to help him practice free kicks after training. The guy said, "Man, I'm 37, I'm done for the day." Ronaldo's like, "I want to practice with you. You're the best. I need to see how I stack up." "That's Doc again. Dude, take the shot. Observe. What went wrong?" "Correct. Fix it next time." And he kept doing that. Same thing with Tiger Woods. After every round of golf, this guy didn't go party. He'd hit the driving range to practice his delivery. He would sometimes change his grip, sometimes modify his style, constantly refining his technique. Then what would he do next? He would observe. This is the O in the Doc technique. Many times he would record videos of his swings, then watch them in slow motion to analyze how good his grip was. He would analyze how well he was hitting the shot and at what angle. Basically, he would observe himself. And if he felt that something was off or there was a mistake, then the C in Doc would come into play. He would correct himself. This created a feedback loop, a mechanism that helped him continuously improve himself. And you can say that this was one of the core reasons why Tiger Woods became such a great player. Similarly, if you look at any field, even in business, this three-step process is always at play. A person does something, then takes feedback, observes, and then brings improvements within themselves. And this process keeps repeating time and again and again, which in itself is a technique. With this, let's move on to the next pillar. You know what story really stuck with me the other day? It's about Keanu Reeves. Yeah, John Wick himself. Now, we all know Keanu as this super chill actor who's also just a really humble guy. But what a lot of people don't know is how slow and steady his journey was. He wasn't one of those overnight Hollywood sensations. Back in the day, he didn't come from a powerful family or have big connections. He just kept showing up, one role at a time. Sometimes small, sometimes uncredited. He wasn't trying to blow up overnight. He just focused on getting a little better, doing his job, staying grounded. And even now, despite being one of the biggest names in the world, he still rides the subway, stays out of drama, and just quietly keeps doing the work. So what's the secret behind his kind of success? It's patience and consistency. That's it. And honestly, that applies to anything you're trying to get good at. Whether you're learning an instrument, starting a business, or just trying to get fit. If you show up every day and stick with it, even if it's just a little at a time, it adds up. It's kind of like planting seeds. You won't see a tree tomorrow, but give it time. Water it daily. Show up. And eventually you've got a forest. That's what Keanu did with his career. And that's what we've got to do with our goals. So yeah, if there's one thing to hold on to, it's this. Be patient. Stay consistent. That's the real magic. So, you should also start incorporating these two qualities into your life if you want to develop a practicing mind. The next pillar will teach you simple tricks that will help you apply the practicing mind in your life. Let's go there. You know what I found really cool the other day? I was watching this behind-the-scenes video of Serena Williams. Yeah, the tennis legend. And something she said just stuck with me. She was talking about how even after winning more than 20 Grand Slams, she never saw herself as done. She said, "I'm always practicing, not just on the court, but in life. Whether it's fitness, parenting, business, she treats everything like practice." And that got me thinking. That's actually a game-changing mindset. This is what our sixth pillar is about, making everyday life a practice. You see, we often think practice only applies to stuff like sports, music, or exams. But what if practice was how we looked at everything? Like, I'm not just recording a video right now, I'm practicing how to communicate better. Maybe you're making lunch or talking to someone or cleaning up. What if you saw those little moments as practice too? It's not about being perfect. It's just about showing up, doing the thing with a little more attention, and trying to do it a bit better than yesterday. Even doctors say, "I'm a practicing physician." They've been doing it for decades and they're still practicing because deep down they know growth never really ends. So here's a small but powerful shift. Start thinking of yourself as a practicing human. Washing dishes, practice being present, having a tough convo, practice being calm, even tying your shoes. Yep, practice doing one thing well. When you do this, you train your mind to stay focused. And slowly, Without even trying too hard, you get better at life. Just like Serena, one day, one rep, one mindful moment at a time. Or, if you're talking to someone, practice talking. Try to converse mindfully and communicate more effectively. Try to improve yourself in that process, because when you begin to do your everyday tasks with mindfulness, it automatically enhances your mindfulness power and strengthens your practicing mind. Start applying this simple shift in your daily life. You will begin to see significant results. Trust me on this. So, I was watching this old interview with Michael Jordan the other day, and he said something wild. He goes, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed." And then he says, "I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." I sat there like, whoa, that's Michael freaking Jordan, the guy we all think of as perfect. But guess what? He didn't start out perfect. He just didn't let the fear of messing up stop him from showing up. And that's exactly what the seventh and last pillar is all about. Let go of perfect. Just start. You see, one of the biggest reasons people don't start something, whether it's making videos, learning a skill, applying for a job, is this voice in their head saying, "I'm not good enough yet. I can't do it perfectly. I don't have the talent." And boom, they freeze. They wait. They overthink. They give up before even starting. But here's the truth. Nobody starts out great. What they do have, though, is a mindset. A growth mindset. A mindset that says, it's okay if I suck right now. I'll get better. I've seen so many people, students, creators, even smart professionals, who never take the first step just because they're too caught up chasing perfection. They want their first try to be amazing. And if it's not, they feel like failures. But you don't need to be amazing, you just need to begin. You know who else had this mindset? Cristiano Ronaldo. When he has a bad game, or when life throws stuff at him, he doesn't spiral. He just goes back to the basics. Workout, discipline, practice. Every single time. He doesn't rely on motivation. He relies on muscle memory. Built from doing the work again and again. It's not about talent. It's about consistency. It's about showing up, especially when you don't feel ready. So, if you're sitting there thinking, I'm not that good, or what if people laugh, just remind yourself of this. Even Jordan missed. Even Ronaldo failed. Even the biggest names started somewhere, and they weren't perfect. But they practiced. They grew, and now, well, now they're legends. So, whatever you're dreaming about, start, write that thing, shoot that video, apply for that gig. You don't need permission. And you definitely don't need to be perfect. Just take the first step. Because in the end, your story won't be written by your perfect moments. It'll be written by the times you chose to try. Michael Jordan missed 9,000 shots before becoming a legend. The lesson? You don't need to be perfect to start, you just need to start to get better. Perfectionism isn't high standards. It's fear. Fear of judgment. Fear of not being enough. Every small action rewires your brain for growth. It tells you, I can handle this. That's how confidence is built. By doing, not waiting. So if you've been holding back on writing, creating, speaking up, remember Jordan. Remember Ronaldo. They practiced their way to unstoppable. What's one thing you've been waiting to perfect before starting? Say it out loud. Or better, start today. Drop your first step in the comments. You might inspire someone else. If this video lit a spark, share it and subscribe to our channel to unlock your next level. Thanks for being here with us. And more importantly, thanks for choosing progress over perfection.